After our home, buying a vehicle is probably the biggest expenditure we will ever make. With so much money at stake, it's only right you would want to protect your purchase, wouldn't you? Our cars are our pride and joy. The sad fact is, thousands of vehicles are written off every year. No one would ever wish to be in that position. We would all like to think it will never happen to us. Hopefully, it never will. Motor insurance covers your car for a value at the time it is written off. Your insurance company will offer you the book price for the car. This is likely to be much less than you originally paid for it or what you believe it to be worth. Then you have a gap. Covering yourself thoroughly in times of disaster would seem to make sense, but sometimes we are so keen to get motoring that we don't always make the right decision, as Mark and Nicola found out.
What happened was we were broken into, both our cars were stolen. When we informed the insurance company and looking through the documentation, I realised I was offered a GAP policy when we initially bought the car. From settlement through the insurance company, we've lost a couple of £1,000 on the value in the space of 8 months. The GAP policy would have made the difference up between what my insurance was paying out and what the value of the car was. So
we've lost a few £1,000s now in such a short space of time. If we'd have took the policy out, we would have got what we paid for the car, and that's resulted in us having to go for a car now that's much cheaper than the car that we had stolen from us in such a short space of time.
But what we will be doing in future is, when we do buy a new car, we'll be taking a GAP policy out and recommending to our family and friends how important it is to take one of these policies out, because
you don't think it's going to happen to you.
But we've realised the hard way that it has happened.
It did.
And we're out of pocket.
Having suffered the costs of a total loss of their vehicle, GAP Insurance provided Michael and Joan with the peace of mind that they needed.
We've had 2 cars unfortunately written off over the last 9 or 10 years. And on the first occasion we didn't have any GAP insurance, and that caused us some financial heartache when we came to purchase another car. However, more recently we were away on holiday in France, and we had an accident. A guy drove out of a side road straight into the side of us, and the car was badly smashed and written off by the insurance company eventually. The insurance company, because we were away in France, there were problems of getting assessors into position and so on and so forth. But generally the insurance company offered us a figure which we disputed at the time, and eventually they increased that offer. But the most important thing obviously was that we had GAP insurance, and we knew then that we were going to be okay, and we would get a full refund, and we would be able to buy a new car when we got back to England.
Yeah. And we would always have GAP insurance in future.
There is a risk that your insurer won't pay out enough to settle your finance or to get you the age and specification of car that you thought you had at the time. Making the decision to cover yourself can be purely one of cost. This is where you need to ensure your own demands and needs are met.